Have you ever done everything right and still felt invisible? Have you followed every rule, worked hard, kept your head down, yet life keeps handing rewards to louder, luckier people? Have you ever wondered why effort doesn't feel like progress anymore? Only exhaustion. Maybe it's because you were never meant to win their game. You were trained to play it. You were told since childhood that discipline, good grades, and patience would earn you freedom. But what they really taught you was obedience. You learned to raise your hand, to wait for permission to color inside the lines, to speak only when asked. You called it structure. They called it control. Every system you trusted, school, career, society, was never designed to make you free. It was built to make you predictable. And the harder you worked within it, the more the system applauded you for staying inside the cage. Here's the truth. Most people never face hard work. Only matters when you're working for yourself, not for their approval. You've been loyal to a path that rewards obedience and punishes originality. You thought the finish line was freedom, but it was just another leash. So when you feel stuck, it's not because you're lazy. It's because you've been conditioned to mistake movement for growth. The system doesn't fear failure, it fears awareness. And the moment you start questioning, you become dangerous. Freedom doesn't begin when you succeed. It begins when you stop believing their definition of success. If this truth hits something deep inside you, you already know what to do. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a channel for the obedient. It's for the ones finally ready to wake up. Have you ever wondered why it's easier to follow than to think? Why speaking your truth feels dangerous while staying silent feels safe? Have you noticed how the world rewards the ones who obey, those who nod, agree, and never question, while quietly punishing the ones who dare to ask why? Maybe it's not because you're wrong. Maybe it's because you were trained to never challenge what keeps others comfortable. Since the beginning, you were told that good people follow the rules, that success belongs to the polite, the patient, the compliant. You learned to stay in line, to raise your hand before you speak, to do what's expected even when it crushes what's real inside you. They called it discipline, but it was never about making you strong. It was about making you manageable. Every lesson, every policy, every polite smile had one hidden purpose: to make you predictable. You were never educated to think. You were conditioned to perform, to memorize answers, not create them, not create, to copy, not innovate. They taught you to survive inside the system, not to outgrow it. And the worst part, you called it maturity. You convinced yourself that fitting in was intelligence, but fitting in only means you've stopped asking questions. Here's the truth: they'll never admit obedience is the most profitable product ever created. Entire industries depend on your willingness to comply. They don't need to cage you anymore, they just make you afraid of standing alone. So ask yourself this: when was the last time you made a decision that was truly yours? Not your boss's, not your parents', not society's, yours. Because the moment you start thinking for yourself, you stop being useful to their system. If that thought stings, it means you're waking up. Don't run from it. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a place for the obedient, it's a refuge for the awake. Have you ever looked around and wondered who built the world you're trapped in? Who decided what success means, what's worth studying, who deserves to rise, and who must stay small? Have you ever felt like every choice you make somehow benefits someone else more than it benefits you? Maybe that's not a coincidence. Maybe it's design. Every system has an architect. Every rule has a beneficiary. And if you've spent your life following instructions, chances are you were never meant to win. You were meant to function. You were meant to feed the machine built by people you'll never meet. The world taught you how to work, not how to own. How to obey, not how to think. You were given maps drawn by those who already owned the land. Think about it. Why do schools teach you how to follow deadlines, not how to build freedom? Why do jobs train you to serve others' goals, not your own? Why are you told to stay grateful instead of powerful? Because obedience fuels the hierarchy. And those at the top survive by convincing everyone else that the ladder is fair. But here's the cruel beauty of it all. The architect never shows their face. Power hides behind systems, brands, laws, and traditions. You don't need chains to be controlled, you just need structure. Predictable patterns. And you've been predictable your whole life. Until now. Because the moment you start seeing the architecture instead of the walls, everything changes. You stop playing the game and start studying it. You stop asking for permission and start designing your own system. That's when real power begins. If this realization feels heavy good, it means you're finally seeing the blueprints. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't just another channel, it's the map they never wanted you to find. Have you ever felt free, yet somehow trapped? Have you ever stood in the middle of your choices and realized none of them were truly yours? College or debt, job or poverty, conform or disappear. They call it freedom. But why does it feel like every door leads back to the same cage? You were raised to believe you had options, that you were in control. But every option was pre-selected, every path pre-approved. From what you study, to what you buy, from who you love, to how you think, none of it happened by accident. The system gives you the illusion of choice, so you never notice the limits. It doesn't need to take your freedom away. It just needs you to believe you already have it. You were told that democracy, capitalism, and education would set you free. But freedom that comes with conditions isn't freedom, it's marketing. You don't choose. You consume. And the system profits from both your loyalty and your rebellion. Even the movements you join, the outrage you feel, the opinions you think are yours, they've all been packaged and sold back to you. Here's the bitter truth. Fake freedom is the most dangerous kind. It keeps you calm while you're being controlled. It convinces you that comfort is independence, that busyness is progress. But deep down you know something's wrong. You can feel it, that quiet, haunting sense that the game is rigged. The system doesn't fear the loud protester. It fears the quiet thinker, the one who sees through the illusion and starts rewriting their own script. Because when you stop reacting, you start designing. If that realization stings, don't look away. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a place that tells you what to think, it's where you finally learn how to think. Have you ever noticed how the moment you start thinking for yourself, people pull away? Have you felt that cold silence from friends, co-workers, even family, just because you stopped needing their approval? Have you ever wondered why independence feels more like exile than freedom? Maybe it's because the world doesn't actually hate failure. It hates independence. They say they want you to be your own person, but only if your choices make them comfortable. The moment you step outside their script, you become a threat. They'll call you arrogant, stubborn, unrealistic, anything to make you question yourself. But their discomfort isn't about you. It's about them. Because every time you act freely, you remind them of the chains they've accepted. You see, dependence is safety in disguise. The system teaches you to need constant validation to belong, to be liked, to fit in. But the price of belonging is obedience. You can't be free and liked at the same time. You must choose. And most people would rather stay in the crowd than face the loneliness of freedom. But here's the paradox. Independence first feels like abandonment. When you stop asking for permission, you lose their applause. Yet that silence, that's the sound of control shifting back to you. That's where your power begins, when you can stand alone and not break. The truth is, independence isn't rebellion. It's return to your own voice, your own judgment, your own authority. And it's the one thing the system cannot tolerate, because an independent mind can't be owned. If these words burn a little, it means you're already on that path. Don't turn back. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a channel for the crowd. It's for the few strong enough to walk alone. Have you ever felt looked down on for not having the right degree? Have you watched someone less capable get promoted, not because they were smarter, but because they played the game better? Have you ever been told you're talented but need credentials to be taken seriously? That's the quiet humiliation of the self-taught, the feeling of being underestimated by those who mistake permission for intelligence. You've probably noticed how the world worships certificates, not competence. Schools promise empowerment, but they sell conformity. They tell you what to memorize, not how to think. They reward you for fitting in, not for figuring things out. And the moment you step outside their system, when you start teaching yourself, you become dangerous. Because you prove what they fear most, that you don't need them to win. Every self-taught person is a threat to control. You learn without their approval, succeed without their blessing, and create without their structure. That terrifies institutions built on dependence. They'll mock you, call you unqualified, try to measure you by rules they invented. But that's only because your freedom exposes their limits. You don't need their classrooms to learn. The world itself is a classroom if you know how to pay attention. Failure becomes your teacher. Curiosity becomes your degree. And resilience becomes your diploma. The truth is, you don't owe anyone validation for what you know. Results speak louder than credentials ever could. They'll call you reckless for stepping off the path, but that's how every revolution starts. The self-taught don't ask for seats at the table. They build new ones. If that thought sparks something inside you, don't let it fade. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't for the certified, it's for the capable, for the ones who learn without permission. Have you ever felt like your mind is always busy but never clear? Do you scroll for hours searching for meaning only to end up more distracted, more numb, more lost? Have you noticed how every moment of silence feels unbearable now, as if you've forgotten how to be alone with your own thoughts? That's not by accident. That's by design. You see, they don't need to silence you anymore. They just need to keep you entertained. Noise has replaced truth. Distraction has replaced control. They feed you endless streams of content, convincing you that staying informed is the same as being awake. But the truth is, the more you consume, the less you create. The more you react, the less you think. You've been conditioned to crave stimulation like oxygen. Every notification, every headline, every opinion, it gives you a small hit of relevance, a quick illusion of connection. But deep down, you know what it really is. Emptiness dressed as engagement. They've turned attention into currency, and you're spending yours without even realizing it. Here's the brutal irony. The system doesn't care what you believe, as long as you never stop scrolling. Outrage, distraction, even inspiration. It's all the same to them. What matters is that you never pause long enough to question who benefits from your exhaustion. But the moment you take back your focus, everything changes. Silence becomes strength again. Stillness becomes rebellion. You stop being a product and start being a person. If that truth hits you where it hurts, it means your mind is waking up. Don't let them pull you back into the noise. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't just another distraction, it's your reminder to think again. Have you ever noticed how addicted you are to being seen? How every small win feels meaningless until someone else approves it? Have you ever caught yourself posting something, not because you wanted to share it, but because you wanted to be validated? That quiet ache that need to be noticed? That's not weakness. That's conditioning. You were trained to crave attention the way addicts crave their next hit. From childhood, they told you to make them proud, to be impressive, to earn love. And you did. You built your life around applause, grades, compliments, likes, promotions. You thought you were building a reputation, but you were really building a prison. Validation is the most beautiful trap ever made. It feels like connection, but it's control. Every compliment becomes a leash. Every like becomes a test. You start performing instead of living, shaping yourself into what gets approval, trimming away what doesn't. Until one day you can't tell who you are without the feedback. And here's the cruelest part: the system doesn't even need to punish you anymore. You do it to yourself. You censor your own voice, hide your real opinions, fake your joy, all to avoid losing approval. You're not free, you're just well-behaved. But freedom begins when you stop chasing applause, when silence doesn't scare you, when your worth stops depending on reactions. That's when validation loses its power. Because the truth is, being liked is easy. Being real is rare. And only the real can't be replaced. If these words sting, it means you've felt that leash tightening. Don't look away from it. Break it. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a space for people who need applause, it's for the ones ready to live without it. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by how much you know and yet powerless to change anything? Do you ever catch yourself drowning in headlines, advice, podcasts, endless knowledge and still feel stuck in the same place? Have you ever wondered how it's possible to be more informed than any generation before you and still feel lost? That's not your fault. It's strategy. You've been taught that knowing more makes you smarter. But in truth, information without focus makes you weaker. The system doesn't control you by hiding the truth anymore. It controls you by burying it. It floods you with noise until you can't tell signal from static. You end up consuming knowledge the way others consume junk food, comforted, distracted, but never nourished. You scroll through motivation videos, read self-help books, follow success gurus, and tell yourself you're growing. But deep down, you know you're not applying any of it. Because real power doesn't come from knowing. It comes from choosing. From deciding what's worth your time and what deserves to be ignored. Strategic ignorance is strength. It's the ability to say no to everything that doesn't move you closer to power. Most people mistake curiosity for progress. But curiosity without discipline is chaos. The self-taught, the sovereign, the truly awake, they don't chase every idea. They hunt only what matters. So ask yourself this: how much of your learning is just avoidance? How much of your focus is being stolen by noise disguised as opportunity? The truth is, the more you filter out, the more powerful you become. Silence isn't ignorance, it's precision. If that realization stings, it's because your attention has been weaponized against you. Take it back. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't another voice in the noise, it's the place where you learn how to cut through it. Have you ever said too much and wished you hadn't? Have you ever walked away from a conversation replaying every word, realizing that silence would have protected you better than honesty did? Have you ever noticed how the loudest people in the room rarely hold real power, while the quiet ones always seem to know something no one else does? That's not coincidence. That's discipline. You were raised in a culture that mistakes noise for strength. Speak louder, share more, prove your worth. But the truth is, talking too much is the fastest way to lose control. Every word you give away is data information about your thoughts, your fears, your plans. And when you speak without strategy, you hand your leverage to whoever's listening. Silence isn't weakness. It's warfare. The powerful don't talk to fill space, they talk to shift it. They don't argue to be right, they wait to be effective. While everyone else rushes to be heard, the silent ones observe patterns, watch reactions, and collect advantage. They understand what most never will. Silence doesn't hide power, it sharpens it. Think about the last time you spoke to defend yourself. Did it fix anything, or did it just expose more of you? Every unnecessary explanation is a confession. Every reaction is a reveal. Sometimes the most strategic move is no move at all. The system teaches you to overshare so it can study you. The wise unlearn that habit and speak only when silence no longer serves them. So the next time you feel the urge to prove, to explain, to justify, pause. Let the silence work for you. Because mystery intimidates more than any argument ever could. If that truth cuts deep, it's because you already know how much power you've given away. Take it back. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a place for loud voices, it's for quiet strategists. Have you ever felt like you're always rushing but never arriving? Do you ever wonder why your life feels like an endless chase? Faster goals, faster results, faster everything, yet peace keeps slipping further away. Have you noticed how the world glorifies speed but quietly punishes depth? That exhaustion you feel isn't failure. It's the cost of moving too fast in a game designed to make you tired. The system trains you to crave speed because impatience is profitable. You're told to hustle harder, fail fast, keep grinding. But fast is fragile. Speed kills strategy. While you're sprinting, someone else is studying. While you're reacting, someone else is waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Power doesn't rush, it calculates. Real patience isn't passive, it's predatory. It's the art of observing while others burn out. The lion doesn't chase every sound in the jungle. It waits motionless until one precise move changes everything. That's what power looks like from the outside, sudden. But from the inside, it's patience meeting preparation. Most people mistake stillness for weakness. They panic when nothing happens. But silence and time are the two greatest weapons of the strategist. Every delay is an opportunity to refine. Every pause is a setup. Patience turns time into leverage. So stop racing to prove yourself. The world doesn't remember the first, it remembers the last one standing. Every empire, every revolution, every comeback begins with someone who refused to rush. If this truth hits that part of you that's tired of running good, you're finally slowing down enough to see clearly. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a space for those chasing quick wins, it's for those building lasting power. Have you ever wondered why you work harder than ever but still feel stuck in the same place? Why no matter how many hours you pour into your job, your money, your freedom, your time, none of it seems to grow? Have you ever looked at someone doing less than you and still getting further ahead and thought, what am I missing? The answer isn't luck, it's leverage. You've been conditioned to trade time for approval hours, for survival effort, for small rewards. They told you that working hard was noble, but they never told you that working smart was power. The system doesn't want you to understand leverage because leverage breaks dependency. The moment you figure out how to multiply your effort, you stop being controllable. Leverage is how the few move the many. It's how one idea, one system, one piece of knowledge can work for you even when you sleep. The world teaches you to use your hands. The powerful use their minds. You can keep grinding forever, or you can build something that grinds for you. Think about it. Why do the rich get richer? Not because they work more hours, but because every move they make multiplies itself. They build machines, networks, and systems that never rest. And you were trained to think small, just productive enough to keep someone else's machine running. Here's the hard truth. If your effort dies the moment you stop working, you don't own your life, you rent it. So start thinking in terms of multiplication, not repetition. Build systems, build skills that scale, build leverage. Because power isn't about doing everything, it's about making one thing work everywhere. If that truth cuts deep, it means you're ready to stop trading time and start creating freedom. Stay here, subscribe, because this isn't a channel for workers, it's for builders. Have you ever felt like you're always one resource short, one skill, one connection, one opportunity away from the life you want? Have you ever told yourself, I could do it if only I had more? More money, more help, more time. That's the lie that keeps you powerless. Because waiting for enough is how the system keeps you still. The truth is, the powerful don't wait for perfect conditions, they build from broken ones. Every shortage you face is an invitation to invent. Every wall is a blueprint for a door. When you stop complaining about what you lack and start creating with what you have, you become unstoppable. Because creativity is just scarcity under pressure. Most people use limitation as an excuse. The self-taught use it as fuel. You think you need better tools, but what you really need is better thinking. When your back is against the wall, your mind stops seeking comfort and starts seeking solutions. That's where true genius lives, not in privilege, but in constraint. Think about every innovator you've ever admired. They didn't start with abundance. They started with a problem. They turned frustration into invention, rejection into redirection. That's substitution turning weakness into leverage. When the world says you can't, you quietly build something that proves you can. You can complain or you can construct, but you can't do both. The system feeds on your frustration because it keeps you dependent. The moment you replace excuses with systems, you break that chain forever. So stop waiting for resources. Start becoming one. That's the mindset of those who rise while others wait for permission. If that truth hits you, it's because you know deep down you've been building cages out of not enough. Break them. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't for those who need more, it's for those ready to create from less. Have you ever felt like every time you start to rise, someone tries to pull you back down? Have you noticed how the moment you gain momentum, eyes start watching, whispers start spreading, and suddenly your silence feels safer than your success? Maybe that's not paranoia, maybe it's survival. Because visibility doesn't just attract opportunity, it attracts attack. You were raised to believe exposure equals power. Be seen, be known, be everywhere. But that's the illusion. The more visible you become, the easier you are to target, copy, or control. The world celebrates the loud until it's time to destroy them. The strongest players don't shine, they maneuver in the dark. They let others chase attention while they chase results. Real power grows in silence. The seed doesn't brag while it breaks through the soil. The storm doesn't announce itself before it hits. You don't need to broadcast every move to prove you're making one. The powerful know that mystery multiplies influence. The less they know about your next step, the less they can stop it. The system wants you loud because noise is predictable. They study your words, your habits, your emotions until they know exactly how to disarm you. But when you go quiet, when you operate unseen, they lose their map, and that's when control shifts. So protect your energy. Move in silence. Build in private. Reveal only when it's too late for them to react. You don't need to announce your growth for it to be real. Let results speak in the language silence taught you. If this truth cuts deep, it's because you've felt the cost of being too visible. Don't feed the audience that wants to see you fail. Stay quiet. Stay dangerous. Stay here and subscribe. Because this isn't for those who crave attention. It's for those who create power in the shadows. Have you ever felt like everything you believed in was slowly falling apart? Have you ever looked at the life you built, the job, the rules, the people you trusted, and realized it was all based on illusions? That sick feeling in your stomach when the truth finally hits. That's not weakness. That's awakening. You were raised on borrowed definitions of success, happiness, intelligence, even morality. You were told that good people follow the path, that safety is virtue, that obedience brings reward. But the deeper you went, the more you noticed how hollow it felt. How every promotion, every compliment, every milestone was just another layer of control dressed as achievement. You kept waiting for peace, but peace never came, only pressure to perform. The hardest moment of your life isn't losing something, it's realizing it was never real to begin with. The secure job that could vanish overnight. The love that depended on compliance. The dream that was never yours. You weren't living, you were maintaining an illusion. And when illusions die, it hurts like hell. But what's left afterward is truth. Truth is quiet. It doesn't clap for you. It doesn't comfort you. It just strips away everything fake until all that remains is what's real. And what's real can finally grow. The system survives because people fear that moment when the mask breaks. But you're stronger than that. You're ready to see what's behind the curtain. So let it collapse. Let the lies burn. Because every illusion you bury makes space for authenticity. That's where power lives, not in pretending, but in seeing. If this truth feels heavy, it means you're close to breaking through. Don't stop now. Stay here. Subscribe. Because this isn't a place for people chasing comfort. It's for those brave enough to face what's real. Have you ever realized you no longer want to win because the game itself feels meaningless? Have you ever looked around and seen people chasing approval, money, and noise and felt a quiet voice inside you whisper, "I'm done"? That's not giving up. That's evolution. That's the moment you stop fighting for control and start becoming it. You've spent your whole life trying to climb ladders built by other people. You fought for validation, chased leverage, mastered patience, learned silence. But here's the final truth: the system doesn't lose when you fail. It loses when you stop needing it. Real sovereignty begins when you no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. When your worth no longer depends on being seen, chosen, or understood. The powerful don't seek revenge. They outgrow the battlefield. They let others play small wars while they design new worlds. Detachment isn't apathy, it's mastery. It's when nothing outside of you can touch the calm inside of you. You stop reacting. You start engineering. You no longer chase influence. You become the environment others move through. That's the quiet power they'll never teach you, because you can't be sold once you realize you already have everything. Freedom, time, peace, clarity. The moment you stop needing recognition, you become untouchable. The moment you stop running, everything starts moving around you. So let them fight for crowns that rust. You've already built your throne inside. You don't need to scream to be powerful. True sovereignty whispers, it doesn't announce. If this truth feels like closure, it's because you've reached the end of illusion and the beginning of control. Stay here. subscribe. Because this isn't the end of the journey, it's the start of your reign.